if I'm up and coming and I didn't know anything about this, these headlines haven't dropped, the lawsuit hasn't come out, and Diddy invites me to a party, I'm probably gonna go.
Yeah.
Because I want to see like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then it could have went horribly wrong for me. I could have been sex trafficked.
You could have. Or
I don't want to be sex trafficked.
even worse, you could have been filmed by Lil Rod.
I would have been filmed and
been
sex
in the archives.
trafficked.
Yeah. Exactly.
All the above. We're going back to the Golden Corral, all you can eat buffet.
If you had to perform on the street for money, if you had to do a skill, if you had to showcase a skill that you had, tomorrow all your funds go away.
Damn.
You have to start from scratch and be able to pay your rent. What skill do you choose to do on the street?
I feel like realistically, I would do comedy. Just be a pretty half decent comedian, I think.
So you do like street crowd work?
Yeah. I think that's the most realistic thing because I can't dance.
Yeah.
I can't sing. I mean, I can and then my sign says, "Pay me to shut up."
Yeah.
If I'm singing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a very good singer. And I can't play instruments either. So if I'm doing any of that, it's just like pay me to stop.
I think that would be a cash cow idea because I could do that too with my horrible singing voice. I could have a ticker, and every day, if it gets up to 1,000, that's when I stop singing.
Yeah.
So I let people know this is my Venmo, this is Cash App. When it's at $913 right now. If you want me to shut the fuck up, you have to Venmo me $87 and I'll stop singing.
Yeah.
And you'll finally catch a break.
Yes.
And then I'll make $1,000 in one day.
That could be possible as with the recent news in New York with the serial punching that's been going on.
I've been seeing that, yeah.
I would be afraid that somebody would just come up and just clock me right in the face. They're like, I know a free way to get you to shut up. And it involves my fist meeting your face.
But then you could also incorporate that into the song as sort of fight dance choreography. Because if you see it coming, you just, because your singing's already terrible. My singing is going to be terrible. Having to move around is not going to make it any better or worse. It's just going to be, it is what it is. And then if you have someone attack you, you could play it off like it's a performance, like it's planned.
I don't know.
Because I think if you beat the shit out of someone, self-defense, that's considered performance art, no? If someone comes up to you?
It could be argued as such.
That would be my defense.
These punches that I've been seeing on TikTok, which were like several women.
Yeah.
In New York. And Demi, my
partner. The women are throwing the punches or women are getting punched?
Women are getting punched in the face.
By guys or by women?
A random person.
Okay.
While walking the street in New York, which is not necessarily new information. I think that's been happening for a long time. But so now we have TikTok though. So now when you get punched in the face, the obvious thing to do right away is get on TikTok.
Whip out your phone, exactly.
Without
you give a
your
play-by-play.
It is a play-by-play of their trauma immediately after. And their welts on their foreheads, like their faces, have been massive. So this guys, I don't know, straight up has been clocking them and doing damage. Now, my partner said that they caught
So the
him.
same guy's been going around punching women?
I don't think this, I mean, yes, I would imagine that guy has punched many of women, but I think there are a lot of men out there punching women in the streets of New York. I don't think there's just one culprit.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple culprits.
Yeah, what do you think? 'Cause I'm trying to like imagine what the motivation for me would be if I'm just walking down the street in Park Slope.
Yeah.
And someone is eating a lettuce wrap. They just came out of Brooklyn Bread and they're looking and I'm walking down the street. It's sunny out. I'm probably not in a bad mood. Like, things are going well. And then the urge just comes over me and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to knock this woman the fuck out right now. This piece of shit woman eating a turkey lettuce wrap. Look at that. Look at that piece of shit.
Her cold cut
She just
sandwich.
dropped a tomato on the ground. Who the fuck do you who gets a side of potato salad when there's coleslaw? This fucking bitch. And then I just clock her out of nowhere.
Yeah.
and now I'm on TikTok because everyone's recorded. Like, what is the motivation behind that? Besides mental illness.
Yeah,
I feel like mental illness is
I was going to
obvious.
say, I think mental illness is the motivator here.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I think it's just like an interest in power, like wanting to punch somebody. And they're obviously punching women and not men because they know a man will probably punch back
Yeah.
and then they'll get their ass beat.
Yeah.
So they're just purposely punching people that they can victimize. And
Yeah.
super shitty.
Yeah, like what is? Yeah, I guess mental illness would be for sure a driving factor of that. But I mean, there's also a lot of mentally ill people out there that don't punch people in the face.
That's
so I feel like
true.
there has to be an extra layer.
They just hate women.
Do
They
you
got
thi-
mommy issues.
Yeah.
I would guess maybe they just like haven't ever had a girlfriend or something. And they have serious hatred towards women.
Right before they do it, you listen to the video back and they're just like, "Fuck you, mom," hitting you in the face. You're like, "Oh yeah, that's it."
Yeah. I must look like
This is not
your
about
mother,
me.
even though you're a black man and I'm a small
Yeah.
white lady.
I saw one woman that got punched in the face and she already had her jaw wired shut from a previous surgery.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, imagine you walk out of like a dental surgery and your jaw's wired shut and then you get rammed in the face by a fist and you're
That's
just like,
so fucked up.
it's like a metaphor for New York City life where you're just
Yes.
walking around and you don't think that you could get beaten down anymore by the
You
city.
can at any
You
time.
can always get punched in the face out of
You
nowhere.
can. I have enjoyed a lot of the TikToks I've been seeing from other women who have not gotten punched in the face, but they're posting videos of themselves kind of walking in the streets, just being so crazy and weird
Yeah.
to repel any potential punchers.
Yeah.
So you got to just walk around. You have to be the freak. I
Yeah.
have to become the mentally ill.
Yeah, you have to channel the
Yes.
mental illness
In order to propel this energy of like, don't punch me in the face.
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
You just start shouting into the sky for
No,
no reason. You're just-
so girls have been
Yeah.
doing that around New York. And I love to see it. I'm like, the only thing that beats crazy is crazier.
Yeah.
So we need to turn it up a notch, ladies. Let's get fucking crazy in New York this year. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a crazy summer in New York
yeah,
City.
just turn it up to 100.
Oh, it's maxed out.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Don't punch me in the face.
Yeah. I'm not going to.
Don't.
I
Don't
don't want
think
to.
about
I don't want to. I was
see
thinking
this
about
look
it.
in my eye?
I do. It's
I will come across this table.
I don't think it would end well. I think I would like rear back and then all of a sudden my throat would start
Exactly.
spurting blood and I would have no idea what's going on. See, that's why you got to turn it up to 100. Because
Yeah.
you just turn it back
Yes.
on them. You just project crazy.
Yeah. So PSA, watch yourselves out there, ladies, and only fight crazy with crazier.
Yeah. Well, speaking of crazy, you said you did some research on the P. Diddy allegations, right?
Yeah.
You want to open up with that and we can do
I
a deep dive?
Yes. So Sean Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy.
Yes. Like 14 other names. Puff Daddy,
Also
P.
known,
Diddy.
wait, also known as Sean John, also known as Puffy, aka P. Diddy, now known as just Diddy, but soon to be known as the Diddler.
Wow. Did you write that or is that the art?
No, I wrote this.
Fuck yeah.
That's why I wanted to open with this story because, I mean, he has about 20 names, but the Diddler is his new name.
That's the next evolution of Diddy.
Exactly. So a 73-page lawsuit hit the press,
Yeah.
which you stumbled upon as well. So yeah, we're here to kind of break some of it down, which there's no way we can even break it all down because it's 73 pages. And I looked at some of them. I mean, there are photos, there are names. This is a big one.
Yeah.
So
Videos.
yeah, I'll kind of just start with like a past issue because I know you had mentioned we'll get into the fact that he has gotten raided by Homeland Security.
Oh yeah.
But this goes back. I mean, this goes back really far. I think this goes back to like Tupac. Okay. But we'll get into that later.
That's the word on the street.
Yes. So the first kind of big issue happened in November. Are you familiar with the singer Cassie? She had a hit back when we were young tweens.
Rings a bell.
It's me and you. Now I've been waiting. I think I'm gonna make a move now.
Yeah.
And she, if you, and what's the beat? Do 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 do. And she's dancing in front of the mirror with her sneakers on. Good stuff. Yeah, so that's Cassie. Glad we could bring that back for you guys.
For those of you just listening, that was a recording of the actual song. I know it sounds
She's here right now.
Yeah.
Her real name is Cassie. It's Cassandra Ventura.
That's the biggest surprise of this entire story.
Yeah, they're like real name, Cassandra Ventura. So I'm like, so Cassie? I mean, that's just her name.
Yeah.
She was Diddy's ex-girlfriend, recent ex-girlfriend. So they broke up and she filed a lawsuit against him, claiming that he had been physically and sexually abusive throughout the relationship. The complaint alleged that Combs' abuse ranged from beating Ventura and forcing her to have sex with other men to R-wording her at her home in 2018.
The first word that popped into my head was retarded, and then I got what you were saying. I was like, wait, he was beating her so bad she was becoming retarded.
Yeah, I'm always concerned of YouTube. YouTube doesn't like
that's a good idea.
The grape.
The grape, yes.
Without the G.
There we go.
Word. So I'm just gonna say grape from now on, and you guys will know what I mean.
Yeah.
So accused him of graping her at her home in 2018. The rapper settled that lawsuit really quickly, probably with a big check. But since then, 3 more women and 1 man have sued P. Diddy, accusing him of a wide range of abusive behavior, including sexual harassment, grape, non-consensual pornography, and sex trafficking. So that was kind of the first
That's the
big thing.
buffet of sexual allegations. That's pretty much everything you can be accused of. Yeah. All you can eat grape.
Just go around.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can get up for more.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
He went back for seconds and thirds.
The Golden Corral.
Yeah, the Golden Corral of grape.
Yes.
The Denny's.
So then in February of 2024, so shortly after, P. Diddy's former producer and videographer filed this massive lawsuit, which is what the 73 pages are all about. So Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod.
Okay.
Yeah. In case you didn't, are you familiar with Lil Rod or?
No, but do you think he has a huge dick? Like, is that
No, it's Lil.
But usually it's like notorious. I guess like Biggie Smalls, he was huge. So like the joke was that he has Smalls in his name, but he's huge.
But everybody uses
Do you think he
Lil.
has like a 14-inch cock, but he goes by Lil Rod?
No, I think.
You think it's small?
I think it's average.
Okay. I guess average would work because if you're expecting it to be little and you whip out an average piece, then you're like, oh, it's not Lil Rod. So like it's kind of the opposite, but not really.
Why do they all choose to be Lil? Like Lil Pump, Lil Uzi, Lil Rod.
Lil Wayne.
What's with the Lil?
I think it's probably just
rap culture.
Rap culture. A shout out to the history of rap. Just people. So there was an OG Lil, which might have actually
who's
been
the original
who's the
Lil?
OG Lil? That's what I want to know.
Lil OG.
Yeah,
that's about to be me. But yes, so Lil Rod, is alleging that Combs sexually harassed him, drugged him, and threatened him. Lil Rod worked on Sean Combs / P. Diddy / The Diddler's most recent album.
And Lil Rod was a videographer, you said, for Diddy?
Producer and videographer.
So you have to be aggressive to sexually assault your videographer because they're filming everything that's happening. So the fact that Diddy was like, I don't give a shit, this is on camera.
Well,
I'm just going to
This is another quick detail that's also in this 73 pages. Diddy was filming everything. It's alleged that Diddy had cameras in every single room of his house.
Okay.
And that includes the bathrooms, everything.
So it was like Prince, what Prince did for music, except for Grape.
Yes.
He did.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
He's like, I don't want to like, in case I have a good moment, I don't want to miss recording it. This could be good.
He wants to catch it all.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, everything. So Lil Rod lived with Diddy while they were working on this album together. So that was from September 2022 to November 2023, which is also the same time that Cassie filed that lawsuit.
Okay.
So it seems like a lot of things came to a head towards the end of last year with Diddy. So Lil Rod alleges that he was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. On one occasion, the lawsuit claims Jones woke up naked and disoriented in bed with Combs and 2 sex workers. He alleges that the music mogul drugged him. The complaint also claims that in his role as Combs' videographer, Jones secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. The illegal activity the suit alleges includes acquiring drugs, soliciting sex workers, providing lace drugs to minors, and sexual assault. So the videographer was videoing. He was videoing.
So he was videoing the illegal activity.
Yes.
And then the illegal activity turned on him.
Yeah,
he got
it
drugged.
does kind of seem that way.
I mean,
I think
it
he
doesn't
was,
make it right, but if you're videoing Diddy giving drugs or harassing
Yeah.
other people, and then you wake up in a bed and you're
It's not
like,
a
what's going on?
surprise.
Yeah, you're not like, what's going on here? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it happened to
Yes.
me. It got turned on me.
You knew your number was coming.
And he's living with Diddy, which makes it even worse. Because, like, imagine waking up in a bed with multiple people that you know. Was it 2 other guys? It was like Diddy and someone else, you said? Or just
It
it said
says
2?
sex workers, so could be
Okay.
men, could be women.
And you said there it was like a lot of groping of the anus.
A lot of butt play.
And you're waking up probably with a sore butt. And then you have to eat breakfast with the guy that did, because you're living with him. Like, you're
Yeah.
literally like, he's asking you if you want more orange juice and he's making you toast. So you're like, I'm so confused. Like, he's being
Yeah.
nice to me, but he's also touching my butt. Like, I don't know how to
yeah,
feel right now.
Yeah. So
Whole
it
nother layer.
seems like Lil Rod was kind of doing the Lord's work a little bit of like, I am going to play like I'm on Diddy's side. And then I'm going to film all this stuff and like absorb. Because the only reason, Diddy had to have trusted him, right? To
Yeah.
let him live with him, be his producer on the album, videotape all this stuff. It also with the cameras, like in all the rooms, it's like the audacity that Diddy had. He's
Yeah.
literally filming all these crimes that he's committing.
Yeah. Do you think he hid the cameras, or it was just like a camera
just
like
an
this?
obvious-
Podcast? Yeah, just like on a tripod. Are you filming something? No.
No.
No, there's just
Really, the red
3
light
Sonys
is
mounted.
on.
Yeah.
No, I think they were definitely hidden
Yeah.
because why not? Of course they're going to be hidden.
So you think Lil Rod was like, basically, he was being
Kind of an informant.
the
Yeah.
grape Jesus. He was like, I'll take it. I know my butt's gonna get torn up
I
at some
don't
point, but
think he
I'm gonna
knew.
do it for the love. I'm gonna do it to expose Diddy's evil.
I don't think he knew the grape would come for him. But he
Gotcha.
should have known.
Yeah.
He should have known. You can't get that close to fire without getting burned.
It's 100%. It's got to turn on you eventually.
It's gonna.
And the
especially when
burning
you're,
could
you're
come-
in the cage with the beast.
Yeah, and the burning could come from being actually burned during a sexual encounter or the STD aftermath. So either way, he was
That's
surrounded
also
by
true.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think though he was there securing all this, 73 pages basically worth of photos. I looked at some of them. They're literally photos and screenshots of videos, names. He got a lot of information, and then unfortunately seems to have gotten sexually assaulted himself, and now has gone to court to bring Diddy down. And that's kind of where you come into play with knowing more about the Homeland Security raid because,
Yeah.
yeah, that is the most breaking news.
So yeah, Diddy's LA home was raided by Homeland Security, and this comes from AP News. So they say that the Los Angeles home of Sean Diddy Combs was raided by Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, Monday in connection with a federal sex trafficking case, authorities said. Fox 11 was the first on the scene. Okay, so I guess it's from Fox. The federal raid occurred at Combs' $40 million home in LA's lavish Holmby Hills neighborhood and across the coast. HSI also raided Star Island, a private island estate purchased by the media mogul. So I don't know about you, but I automatically assume now that any celebrity that buys an island is a pedophile. I'm just like, you have to be.
What are you doing there?
Like, why? There's so much good real estate that you could just buy that's not on a private island.
Yeah.
That why? Like, what is this
It's
thing?
not guaranteed that they're doing weird shit, but once they buy an island, you do need to investigate. It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
So there's a lot of questions that are still in the air. You did a great job of summarizing the allegations, and the only thing that sort of came from, or a lot of the information that came from the FBI raids was just like these overhead helicopter videos that are
Yes.
honestly kind of boring.
Well, they trashed. I did see pictures of inside his home after
Oh, really?
the raid,
I
and
must
they
have missed those.
they trashed his place. I mean, it's torn from top to bottom.
I'm looking inside Diddy's home.
I think it was
images.
Diddy's home. It was like some of his children's homes as well. They
Yes.
went and raided all of them.
Oh yeah, okay. I saw a couple of these photos. Yeah, it's basically just everything's torn inside out. There's
Exactly.
file cabinets
Yep.
all over the place. There's literally it just looks like someone went through all the drawers and just turned it inside out
turned the whole place upside
as
down.
quickly as possible. So yeah, and then
The whole time that's happening, he was in the Caribbean. So I don't remember what country or where, but he was elsewhere. And it's important to say that this stuff is alleged at this point.
Yes.
And Diddy is not under arrest.
No.
And so he was in the Caribbean, which might look like you're fleeing something.
Yeah.
But he's not under arrest.
for
so he
legal
was not
or tax
fleeing.
purposes, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So he was acting all cool and calm. However, I do know he sold a big portion of his company while he was there. So he knows shit's coming in hot. Like he's going to either start losing deals, which I think he's already started losing money deals. So he needs to basically back out and sell everything now.
You do that as a
Before you go to
celebrity.
prison.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is also for legal defense because he knows that if he wants to drag this out, he needs
Money.
dozens of millions of dollars at least to fight this in court. And once you're a celebrity and you start selling shit off, there's it's not an indicator of guilt, but you're like, this is going to cost me for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's actually my next story. We don't have to get into it yet, but it just reminds me of Trump selling Bibles because he owes like 195 million in 10 days or something.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he gets on TV he's selling like
Wait.
God Bless the USA Bibles for $60 a pop. And I'm like, oh, he's trying to cover his
He
ass.
also was selling those, speaking of Trump and selling shit, Trump was selling those like golden Trump sneakers. Did you see that are
I
like
did.
$300 a pair?
I did. I need to get another look at these too.
Yeah. Are they are they also only like 10 of these sneakers in the world? I mean, how do we get our hands on a pair?
They're golden high top sneakers. They have the American, the entire shoe is gold, and then it has the American flag on the sole. It says where to buy the Trump shoes.
Why haven't I seen Donald in these shoes?
I don't know.
I mean, you can't make shoes, Donald, and then not model them.
It was launched at the SneakerCon in Philadelphia on
great.
February 17th. And does it say? No, it doesn't say. It just says they sold out, but
Of course
it
they
doesn't
did.
say where they were originally being sold.
Well,
But I mean, it's not a coincidence that he's just
trying to make money.
like Diddy. You know, if he, because all of his assets are basically under question right now with all the real estate lawsuits. So it's like he doesn't really have much. I guess he could sell off a lot of his estates.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of that is wrapped up in like all the real estate legal bullshit. But Sean Combs is clearly like, I need some funds. So he's selling some stuff off. The article by Fox also says that Diddy was mentioned in the Cat Williams explosive interview with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay that aired about a month ago. And Cat Williams apparently said, all lies will be exposed. And he was also talking about Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson. Apparently Cat Williams was saying it's to that level.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And he says, P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you got to tell him no, Williams said. I did. And then last year, Cassandra Ventura, the girl who you're talking about, also known as R&B singer Cassie, dropped a bombshell lawsuit in New York federal court against the bad boy mogul. Combs and Ventura dated between 2005 and 2018. The lawsuit detailed several eyebrow-raising allegations that detailed years of alleged abuse. The two then settled on the settlement the next day. And just a week later, two women came forward and accused the hip-hop mogul of sexual abuse in a separate lawsuit. So that's pretty much where we're at now.
Yeah. So Diddy's camp is still saying, like, you know, they're obviously denying everything, saying that this is messed up for his reputation, blah, blah, blah. He was just seen out with his twin daughters at Topgolf like yesterday, having a good old time. He's probably trying to get all the time in with his kids now because
That you can, yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty soon going to be
Daddy
in a
might be going
solitary
away.
room.
Daddy might be going away for a long time.
Yeah, I guess like I wasn't surprised to hear about any of these allegations either. And something that bothers me about Diddy is that, like, where the fuck did Diddy come from? What does Diddy do? I know he is a rapper,
he's tied
producer.
back to like the OG wave of hip hop back in the 90s.
I know.
With
He
like
rode-
Tupac, Biggie.
He rode their coattails into fame, basically, because I love Biggie. So I know of Diddy just from being a fan of Biggie.
Yeah.
So
Well, he had the distribution. He started Bad Boy Records, which is his whole
with
thing.
Clive Davis, who is a little suspicious to me as well.
Is he wrapped up in all this stuff?
Well,
Or?
Clive Davis, no, and let me be clear, okay? People don't bite my head off for what I'm about to say, but Clive Davis is a gay man, an openly gay man, and a lot of what you're gonna read, if you read into these 73 pages, it's pretty clear. And from what other rappers have said, 50 Cent has been claiming that Diddy's gay for decades now.
I saw that he was throwing some shade
so
the other day.
There's definitely just some, I mean, the things that Lil Rod is saying, you played with my butt. Like, so there's definitely some weird things going on.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he played with it, and he also locked it down for a contract because he was living there for over a year. You said September 22 to November 23.
About a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, not only am I gonna play with your butt, but I'm gonna lock it down for a little bit. I'm gonna be in a relationship with that thing.
With that butt.
Yeah.
What that butt do? But yeah, so it's kind of crazy. But Diddy just annoys me because I've never heard a Diddy song. You know. I've heard him on other people's songs.
He's credited. So when I was looking up some of what he's done with Bad Boy Records, he has producer credits on like all of the Notorious B.I.G.
Of course he does.
Like it's like Notorious B.I.G. and Diddy.
That is annoying to me though, because it's just like, so you kind of did nothing. That's how I feel. Like, I love Biggie. Biggie was amazing. And so I know he's on a lot of songs with Biggie. I know they were pretty tight back in the day, But I'm just sitting here like, does anybody know a Diddy song right now? Name one. I don't know any.
So this is the top songs. If you go to Diddy right now on Spotify, I'll Be Missing You, which has 500 million streams. I Need a Girl Part 2, 200 million streams featuring Genuine. Shake Your Tail Feather. That's the first one that I know with Nelly.
Yeah, I think that's okay. And once again, it's like, of course, I know that song from Nelly.
Yeah. And then he's got other ones with Keisha Cole. I think a lot of what he does is just like producing, linking up artists and distribution with Bad Boy Records.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Diddy. For some reason, it bothers me that he has no hit songs just like himself.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what did you do again? You were just the producer behind it, which producers are really important.
Yeah.
But I think when you kind of get into that world of like, I'm a producer, like sometimes you say you're a producer, you didn't even like really do that much.
Yeah. Or sometimes like when producers get the artist credit for a song, and it's like, I'm just throwing out names here, but it's like fucking J. Cole, but the song is under the producer, so that the producer also gets the streams. I'm like, I know they had something to do with the beat, but like J. Cole's the reason why I'm listening to this song.
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
You know, like the producer should be in the song credits for sure.
Yes.
But now there's like this whole, I guess like Diddy was sort of ahead of his time a little bit in music, where he was riding the credit of the artist and trying to be like the big baller as the producer.
Exactly.
And now in 2024, there's the Benny Blancos as the producer. There's
Dr. Dre is one of the biggest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just like, I've never really been a fan of Diddy. He's just always kind of been there.
Yeah.
Like with the other person that I am a fan of.
Yeah.
So
maybe this is why he has so many names, because he could be like,
he's trying to change up that identity.
Technically, Puff Daddy grapes that girl.
Yeah,
I'm
other
actually
identity.
P. Diddy now.
Yeah.
I'll be Puffy tomorrow.
No,
maybe
it's
Sean
the
Combs
diddler.
on Thursday.
The diddler.
I'm gonna be the diddler.
Diddler is diddling. Diddler might get diddled when he goes to prison.
Oh, it's gonna turn back on him for sure. And there won't be cameras. There won't be 0 cameras in those rooms. He will have nowhere to turn.
Where are there cameras, but they don't
They'll shut them off.
Yeah, I was like, there will be cameras, but they probably won't care.
I mean, if you have a guy like Diddy who, you know, allegedly has been doing this in a serial fashion for decades, I mean, he could pay off security guards in prison for sure. He can make their life very comfortable.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't have that money after all the lawsuits, then it's going to be a very tough ride for, like, there will be some cameras that just happen to shut off in prison.
Yes.
And you know, he'll drop some soap in the showers and then things will happen.
I also just don't like Diddy because I feel very strongly that he knows who ordered the hit on Tupac. I don't know if Diddy did it himself. I just know that motherfucker knows who did it.
Yeah.
And I rest my case. I have no backing information on that. I just feel it. It is my mother's intuition.
There's I actually had a guy on my other podcast named Greg Kading, who is one of the officers assigned to the original Tupac and Biggie case. And he goes into a lot of detail. If you just search Greg Kading on YouTube, he goes into a lot of detail on this guy named Keefe D, who confessed to Tupac's murder and has links to Tupac's murder. I believe we also talked about Diddy on the podcast. It was over a year ago, so it's kind of it's further back in my memory of episodes. But if you search Greg Kading, you can find a lot about the Diddy, not the Diddy murder, what's it called? The Tupac murder, Biggie murder, and alleged links to Diddy.
That's what because here's the thing, like Tupac, and I don't know, and look at me. Do I look like I know that much about rap culture? No.
That's why you fly under the radar. Maybe
Right.
you ordered the hit. Maybe you're
but
connected.
from kind of just general information, Biggie and Tupac were like massive at the same time. And then there's little Diddy just in the background, like
Yeah.
trying to leech off of them. And how do you win against Tupac and Biggie? They need to fucking die. That's the only way that
Yeah.
you rise to power as Diddy
Yeah.
out of those three. So it's just really suspicious. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the energy around it.
I think the benefit of rap at that time, or like the appeal, is that you knew the feuds were real. There was this East Coast, West Coast gang bang, fucking like we hate each other, and they rapped about that in the music, and you knew it was going on because you'd see stories of people getting killed in the news. And now I feel like rappers have held on to that animosity, but no one's about that life anymore. Like you have the drill rap culture a little bit, where you have people getting called out on TikTok. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Where people will freestyle outside someone's crib, and then they'll call another rapper out, and then the next week they'll die in a drive-by
Oh my
because of
God.
retaliation. Yeah, like there's a lot of these like literally videos on TikTok that spark murders
Oh my
because people are
goodness.
like trying to flex on other rappers. So that does suck.
Yes.
But there's a big part of rap culture that I feel like is hanging on to that 90s, like where about that life will roll up on you.
A lot of them are not
Bullets
about
flying,
that life
but they're
anymore.
not about that life. But back
They don't
in the day,
even know
they
that
were.
life.
So like there's no truth to a lot of the lyrics anymore because it's
Yeah.
all like this
Wannabe
flex
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
flex stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
So
Yeah, well, so I guess we'll keep you guys updated. I imagine this will not go well for
yeah.
Diddy.
Yeah. I mean, another thing I was thinking about is like if you're invited, let's say you're invited to Diddy's house, and this isn't the 90s, this is like 2022 or 2023 when this is going on. What is the point of going to a mega celebrity party anymore? Because like best case scenario, you rub shoulders with some famous people. Worst case scenario, you accidentally get connected to a pedophile ring. Like,
Yes.
and literally it'll just be like a picture with you and Diddy at a house. You're invited, and nothing really happens from that party. But then an article comes out 2 years later, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy, this podcaster is
Yes,
in on the
I
Diddy
mean-
pedophile ring. And I was like, I was just like
Yeah.
invited on a Thursday night. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the media will do whatever they want with that stuff.
Yeah.
I think like you can't avoid that. If you're unknowing, if I'm up and coming and I didn't know anything about this, these headlines haven't dropped, the lawsuit hasn't come out, and Diddy invites me to a party, I'm probably going to go
Yeah.
because I want to see like what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then it could have went horribly wrong for me. I could have been sex trafficked.
You could have. Or
I don't want to be sex trafficked.
even worse, you could have been filmed by Lil Rod.
I would have been filmed
been in
sex
the archives.
trafficked.
Yeah. Exactly.
All the above. We're going back to the Golden Corral, all you
Yeah.
can eat buffet.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I feel bad for some of the stars that might be listed in that document that have nothing to do with it. But I did see that one name that came up was Cuba Gooding.
I saw that.
What's
Cuba
the
Gooding
fuck
Jr.
his name? Cuba Gooding
Cuba Gooding Jr. You get
Okay.
it right. He was the star of Snow Dogs. You better
I
get
know.
that shit right.
I do love Snow Dogs. I have
Yeah.
that on DVD at my
Yeah.
dad's house. Okay, it was
Yeah.
a white DVD.
You throw some respect on Cuba Gooding Jr.'s name.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm gonna throw disrespect because he was in that fucking case in this lawsuit, and he is not just named as like, oh, he was just there. He was named as in he was doing weird shit. So that's weird. And isn't there some other news that's not that recent about Cuba Gooding Jr. that's been weird?
I don't know. The only thing that I've heard recently about Cuba Gooding Jr. is that one of my brother's met him in the city one time, and he said that he was absolutely just wasted,
Oh, yeah.
sweating
You did
out of
say
his
that.
mind. Took a photo with Cuba Gooding Jr. That is hilarious because everyone in that photo is super fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's all I know about
Yeah.
recent news.
Well, I'm reading here that in 2019, Gooding was booked on charges of misdemeanor forcible touching and sexual abuse in the first degree in New York City. So check on your brother, by the way. I mean, he could be.
I'll ask him, was there a guy
Was it
named Lil
you?
Rod around? Did you meet a guy named Elrod?
So that happened. Then in 2020, a woman filed a lawsuit against Gooding accusing him of raping her in 2013. So that doesn't seem good. In 2022, he pleaded guilty to forcibly touching a woman at a New York nightclub in 2018. And yeah, now in 2024, he was mentioned in the sexual SA lawsuit brought against Sean Combs by music producer Lil Rod, saying that Gooding had groped and fondled Lil Rod non-consensually.
Really?
Yes. So Cuba Gooding
So he's
was
got to
up in
have
that
that on
butt.
tape. He's got audio or video of Cuba G just all up in there.
Yes. And you know, that's fucked up because Cuba, like back in the day, he was the face of like nice black man, you know, like Will Smith. You're like, wow. Now we got Cuba out here fondling booty holes. We got Will Smith slapping people on stage. What does America come to?
He was radio.
Yes.
He was the guy. He was. It was like I Am Sam. Sean Penn won the Oscar for playing a mentally retarded person in movies, and then Cuba Gooding Jr. was like, "Hold my beer. I'm gonna be radio,"
Yeah.
and he just became
What was
America's
radio?
superstar.
Was that a football movie?
It
What
was,
it?
yeah, it was a movie about a mentally retarded person who was basically the assistant of a football team, and he carried around a radio with him everywhere, hence the name radio.
Yes.
And Cuba Gooding Jr. embodied that role. So, yeah.
I remember the other movie I remember with him was when it was when he was like deep water diving. Do you know, like, and it was, I think
No.
the movie's called Men of Honor, but it has, what's his name in it? What's his name in The Irishman and Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro,
Yes.
yeah. Bobby D.
Yeah, Bobby D. But yeah, that was a wild movie. So I watched a lot of Cuba's movies growing up, and now I guess we can't. I mean,
Yeah.
we can, but
You can. I mean, I'm not gonna stop
take away
enjoying
the
Pearl
movies.
Harbor. He has a scene in. Have
I'm
you
not
seen
gonna
Pearl Harbor?
Stop watching Snow Dogs.
Have you seen Pearl Harbor?
Of course I have, but I don't even
Do you remember
him in that
So
movie.
he plays a cook on a ship.
Oh,
and
okay.
there's a small part. He's probably in it for like 10 to 12 minutes maybe. And there's a part. It might be my favorite part of the movie
Okay.
where
I was gonna say, why do you remember this?
the Japanese are attacked. Oh, because anytime Pearl Harbor was on TV and I was in high school, I would just
It's a
watch
good
it.
movie. Ben Affleck and Justin, what's his name? Josh
Hartnett.
Yes, yeah.
I'll say it's one of the worst war movies ever made.
Is it?
I admittedly
I thought it
will
was
say
good.
that.
Is it just a chick flick?
I think it's so bad it's good. Yeah, because it's like
okay, that
about
makes sense
it's like
why I
the
liked
Japanese
it.
are attacking, but it's like this love triangle.
That is why I like
while like you're in the middle of World War II, and I watched it so many
I
times.
thought that was a banger of a movie. That is not good, apparently.
It's so bad it's good. That's how I view
Oh.
it. Like I'm not hating on it because I'm admittedly a fan.
My whole
I'll
life
watch
is a
it.
lie. I thought that movie was so. I thought that movie was like famous for being
No,
good.
it's a terrible war movie. For in terms of movies that are about World War II, it's like the bottom of the barrel.
It does have a 24% on Rotten
it's not good.
Tomatoes.
But again, I've seen it probably 12 times.
Me too.
There's one, so you should know. There's this one scene where Cuba Gooding, he's playing the cook, and then the commander of the ship gets killed by the Japanese sneak attack in Pearl Harbor. Gets killed by like shrapnel or something, and the commander of the ship is like, Cuba. He's not named Cuba in the movie because that would be weird, like weird coincidence. Like, oh my god,
Who's
he's also
named Cuba anyway?
exactly. He's like, Cuba, don't let me down. Carry on the cause and beat those Japs. And he's like, all right, sir. And so
He's like the cook.
yeah, he's the cook of the ship. And he gets on one of the turrets, and there's Japanese planes flying across the sky, literally middle of the attack. And he just starts screaming at the turret, like on the turret. He's holding down the machine, like it's fully just going like, and he's like struggling to control it. And then he's like, ah, and then he points it right at a Japanese plane. And he's like, ah, like just screaming for a good 10 seconds.
Okay.
And then he ends up hitting the plane and it goes down into the water. And he just goes, yeah. And that's the
Okay.
last time
I
you
think I
see him in
remember
the
that.
movie.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He sold that part.
But like the way that his eyes just light up while he was shooting that machine gun.
Hell yeah.
Like, I just want to, you want to feel like he feels in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably how Diddy felt standing behind Lil Rod.
Behind.
Yeah. He's just holding Lil Rod, like, and Cuba Gooding's on the machine gun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So we're sorry to the victims because, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of them and that's not cool. But
do you think Diddy's lawyer's defense will be like, well, he did call it Bad Boy Records, so they should have known he was a bad boy, that there was bad boy activity going on?
No, we can't. I feel like
You need a defense, though. You need to I feel like a lawyer would throw that out in the meeting.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
it was
I'm
called Bad Boy Records.
wondering, I mean, most celebrities, when they have parties, there's a lot of NDAs and things like that. So I'm wondering, kind of how that'll play into things.
That's a weird dynamic when you show up at a mansion in LA and some guy in a suit comes out of nowhere and it's just like, before you enter the party, give me your cell phone and sign this. And you're
There's
like, what's going on
genuinely
here?
A waiting room. Like
Yeah.
celebrities have like a vestibule waiting room that you wait in. I know.
Put your phone in the box and sign this. And I'm just
one podcaster that I love. Shout out to the H3 podcast. I bring them up like all the time. But he went.
Is that Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan Klein. Him and his wife went to DJ Khaled's house.
Yeah.
And it was just really funny. But yeah, they waited in like a waiting room area for like 30 minutes before they went further into the house.
Yeah.
They said like the DJ Khaled was nice. It was funny, but it was just like, yeah, I think that happens a lot where if they invite any normal people or people that are just a lower status, like you just wait in their vestibule. You have to flip through 30 pages of non-disclosure agreement and sign off and then get fingerprinted and your photo taken.
Fingerprinted,
I'm
really?
just assuming.
Okay.
Might as
I
well.
wouldn't doubt it.
I'm like, might as well.
Yeah. I would be interested to go to that party just because I want to hear what it's like to be with DJ Khaled speaking in a normal voice, because he only ever yells.
DJ Khaled.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another. I can't picture him being like, okay, guys, the bathroom's over there. And then if you need to go get anything from outside, he can show you where to get your stuff. And I can't picture him not screaming.
I don't think he knows that many words, Zach. I think he only knows like maybe 50 words.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah, your drink runs out and you make eye contact with
one.
Another one? Another one.
That's it.
Another
That's
one.
all you hear.
And you're just like, yeah.
I don't think
sick.
DJ Khaled is that literate.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of producers that get way too much credit, DJ Khaled has to be number one on the list. I don't see that dude doing anything. I like
no.
There's no.
But you will hear him in every song, DJ Khaled.
Yeah, and then he's just like yelling. Like, how many times do you think rappers have like told their people to be like, "Yo, can you get this dude to fucking chill out and stop yelling another one every time I have a verse?" Like,
no
one can hear anything that I'm rapping.
That's his thing.
Yeah,
it does work sometimes. I watched a.
Okay. I'll tell you what pisses me off about him.
Okay.
Diddy. I'll at least give Diddy this. From what I've seen, when he's a producer, unless he's featured on a track, he doesn't appear in the music
Thank
videos.
God.
DJ Khaled will be a fucking producer on a track, has no verse in the video, and he'll just be like standing there with champagne bottles, and it cuts to him, and he's just like his fat ass just naked on a car with champagne. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, he's not adding to anything.
It seems though that people like DJ Khaled though. Like,
I don't think they do.
I think some people. I think
there's
people do.
famous footage of him trying to amp people up for a concert. That's him only.
Oh no, I don't.
And he's
think
getting like
fans
zero
like him.
response.
I don't think fans like him. I think fellow musicians like him as a person, and I think he's hilarious. For one, he doesn't try to be funny. He just is one of those people that's you can laugh at.
Yeah. He's not a human being. He's a meme. He's like he's the closest thing we have to a living meme.
Yes, the jet ski videos.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but all I picture is DJ Khaled like on a jet ski.
Just titties bouncing.
There's some videos of him like crashing the jet ski or a four-wheeler or something. And he's just like a big goof.
He's another one.
Yeah. So I think he's in videos, because that's probably the deal that he struck with them. But I honestly think like people get along with him in the business. But fans, we don't give a shit about DJ Khaled. I mean, he is another one that has no real songs. He's just there.
Yeah.
So unless you bring Rihanna out and start singing Wild Thoughts, get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, I'm glad. If I had to choose, I'd rather be graped by Diddy than DJ Khaled, because I don't think I could deal with DJ Khaled like waking up the next morning and I'm like, dude, I didn't consent to that, and he's just like dancing with the champagne bottles, like not even acknowledging what I'm saying. Whereas like Diddy, I feel like he'd be like, all right, dude, like, that was fucked up, but you did sign an NDA. Where DJ Khaled is just like in his own world, bopping around like champagne, jet skis, titties bouncing.
I don't know. I get dark energy from Diddy. I don't like him.
I do get dark energy from Diddy, but I think DJ Khaled would be like annoying after a grape. I feel like he'd be more annoying to deal with than Diddy. Diddy is, if all this shit is true, is fucked up for sure. I think DJ Khaled, it would just be like, I can't believe like I have to watch this dude dance right now while my asshole is sore.
You need to know how to distract. He's like a little puppy. So you need to be like, are you hungry?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm starving.
And he's like, another one?
Bring out the whole ocean. There's another audio snippet of him like eating seafood, and he's like, bring out the whole ocean.
Yeah.
The whole ocean.
Do you remember when he was making, like, when Snapchat was still the biggest app, and he was doing like Snapchat videos every morning?
Yeah.
He's like, another day just sitting here drinking orange juice on my private yacht. Yeah, DJ Khaled, another, yeah, we lighten it up. Life is good. We celebrating every moment.
I'm happy for him.
And I just be like,
but then there's the thing with him not eating out women. You remember that when DJ Khaled? You don't remember. This is.
I mean, that's worse than the grape to me.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
This is what immediately, like, he lost so much cred. Like, every woman was like, you're done.
I'd rather
you're
be
done.
Yeah, everyone was like, I'd rather be graped if you're not gonna eat it.
He
you
said,
gotta eat that box.
because he's married, and he says like, yeah, he doesn't eat women out. He doesn't go down.
Does he say why?
He's just like, that's gross. I'm like, okay, that's a little strange to me. A little strange.
But what is he working with? You know what I mean? Like, if they're gross, like, imagine him.
Not much. Not much at all.
And it's covered in, you can't even see it probably because the bush is so big.
No, he has to lay down.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
But
100%.
yeah, so he lost a lot of cred with that statement. That was a couple years ago, at least now. But when I heard that, I was just like, any man that doesn't go down on women, I'm very sus about.
No, yeah.
Like, there's something, you are obviously just, you need to just maybe be queer, gay, something. I don't know anything else. It
is a good time. And, you know,
it's just strange.
It's, you know, while I'm down there, I often have thoughts where I'm like, life is good.
Oh,
almost like I'm almost like mentally journaling.
Wow.
Like, I'm so grateful
wow.
for this moment. especially someone takes care of themselves down there and it's just a good
Wow,
time. And I'm
wow.
just like, wow, there's not much more I can be grateful for than being present, being like, why you don't have to meditate if you go down because it can
Well,
be a
it's
meditation.
also, it's not about you. It's
Yeah.
not about the man.
Yeah.
Going down on a woman is about the woman.
Yeah.
It's about pleasing the woman. So that's kind of the thing. Is like, oh, I never go down on women. It's like, well, I know you're not making her nut. I know you're not.
Yeah.
You're not making her reach orgasm with your little peen. I'm very
Yeah.
sorry, but you're not.
But
And so that
isn't
means
it-
you've never made her orgasm, probably.
Isn't it like a pretty low percentage of women that will orgasm just from not ejaculate, from penetration only? It's like
Probably.
less than 20% or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
You
I
need to
think
vary up the
you
stimulation.
kind of need to do, first of all, like, you just need, to mix it up. You
Yeah.
can't just do the same thing every time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, and I think a lot of heterosexual couples, I just think a lot of women deal with men not lasting very long, and women tend to take longer to reach orgasm. So
Yeah.
it's like, if you're only lasting like 5 minutes, I just got warmed up. Like,
Yeah.
I just started here. So
Yeah.
now, in order for me to have fun, I'm going to need you to go down on me or something.
That's
you
why.
know?
That's why when I was wiling out on my single Hinge days, before I would say anything to the girl, we'd meet on a date. I would look her in the eyes and I would say, "Oh, I'm going down," and she'd be like, "Excuse me, I'm Sarah," and I'd be like, "I'm going down."
You look
I'm
right in the
yeah, look
eyes.
right in their eyes. I just want to be clear about this
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Is
I'm here for you.
I'm going down there.
Wow.
And
how did that work for you?
I mean, it worked out pretty well. I actually, this is 100% a true story. I was casually seeing this girl hooking up for like 3 or 4 months. I'll call her Sarah.
Okay.
And we engaged in the act of sex before I went down or anything.
What the hell was that?
My phone for the apartment just rang once and then stopped ringing.
Oh, they must have
False
wrong
alarm.
number.
It was Lil Rod warning us Diddy's on his way up.
Yeah.
But so I was in the sexual penetration stages of the encounter.
Okay.
And we finished, and then I went down on her after, and then we both completed, and then she thanked me.
Yeah.
And
Aw.
and I've never been thanked for
That's a
any sort
polite
of sexual.
lady.
Yeah, she was literally like, "Thank you." Like, most guys don't do that, and I was like, "I told you." I looked you right in the eyes and I said, "I'm going down
first
there."
thing you said.
Yeah, exactly. 3 months ago. Do you remember when we met in that bar in the Lower East Side? And I said, "I'm going down."
Wow. No, that's crazy. I am still, I don't actually understand how people are straight. So I don't know
What
this
don't you
problem.
understand?
Just seems like a shitty way to go.
What part do you mean, like the relationship or the sex or both?
Yeah, like for women specifically, I'm like, that just sounds like you're doing things the hard way by being with men.
What is the most confusing aspect, if you were to
It's
say?
like, where's the joy? Are you finding joy from that? And I understand you can't choose your sexuality. So if you're straight, you're just straight. I mean, you can't help it. But it's just interesting to me when I hear about what straight women go through sexually. It's so fascinating to me because it's so sad. It is so fucking terrible.
Well, I think there's a lot of women that just regularly don't come from sex.
Yes.
Especially if you're single. I think if you're in a relationship, I think the
you can work on it. You should be able to get
better
there.
at
Yeah.
sex when you're in a relationship.
If you're in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think as a guy, it's very mechanical. So you're just going to come no matter
it in,
what, unless
pull
you
it out.
are on too many drinks or drugs or combination. Like, it's going to go off at some point during the
Yeah.
encounter. With the woman, it's hard to figure that out the first few times, especially.
Agreed. Yeah.
But then if you're in a relationship, you sort of get to know like the buttons
Yeah.
and the different things that they like. So it becomes much higher
Yeah.
percentage, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
and
I think the
wish
more you're
that.
with a guy, the better it is for a woman in a relationship.
Hopefully, but we know that there are many, many sad stories that
Yeah.
aren't like that. It's just shitty. So women, up your standards, okay? Like do not accept being the partner of a man that has not made you bust nuts regularly.
Yeah.
Come on. We got to stop
But
this
what?
shit.
Okay, so like if we're gonna talk about straight relationships, if it's a lesbian relationship and two girls, and they're both conscious of like if there was a man here, he would get off immediately, but we're two women, so we're more complicated. Is there?
It is complicated.
Do you like take turns? And like you're like I'll learn your
Yeah.
buttons and then you'll learn my buttons, or is it like a straight relationship where it's like one is kind of the man first where she gets off more easily and then the she is learning the process of the other one, if that makes
Kind
sense.
of both, yeah. I do think, I mean, in same-sex relationships, there are typically like tops and bottoms,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not always a top and not always a bottom. Like most people aren't always that, but you might lean one direction more than the other. So yeah, I do think that with a first time with a girl, there's typically going to be a more dominant person that kind of takes charge of the situation and will focus on the other person first and try to get them off first. But I mean, yeah, from my experience, I think I've never reached the big O like the first time hooking up with a girl.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like that's normal.
It's very normal
for girls, whether
Yeah.
it's straight or lesbian relationship, is that you're
Yeah.
not gonna finish that
It's-
first time. Or
It's
maybe the
also
first
just
few times.
like really, I'm really in my head, so I'm so aware. I feel like when you're with somebody new, you're just like super alert to the fact that this is kind of a stranger,
Yeah.
but not. And like, how do I look right now? What do they look like? Like, it's just a wild experience. So you kind of just have to break
How many
the
people
ice.
are in this room? I feel multiple limbs
Where
all
am
over.
I?
Yeah. why is little Rod filming this?
Why am I upside down?
Yeah. What is
So
happening?
yeah, no, I do think that it's complicated for the first time. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, as things progress, you should know how to find those buttons.
Yeah.
And that's a healthy relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that goes both ways too, where even if the guy is more mechanical, where it's like it's gonna happen in a healthy relationship, whether it's straight, lesbian, whatever, both people are trying to learn the buttons
Yeah.
of the other person, where it's
Yeah.
like, what do you want? What do I want? You're having open conversation.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like learning, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, I mean, both you and I have been in long-term relationships. So it's interesting to me because I feel difficult. I'm really weird with like physical touch. I'm not
Yeah.
like a touchy person. So it takes me way longer to just trust people around my space.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to kind of go through that learning process and be like, oh, you pay attention to things that I like and I don't like. How cool is that?
I have a question because the only lesbian relationships that I've seen sexually are porn.
Okay.
And
yeah.
those are typically just two straight girls that are
Yes,
hired
that are
for
paid
porno.
to do that.
How prevalent is scissoring? Because that seems to be the
Yeah.
main move in lesbian porn. But
Mm-hmm.
in the back of my mind, I'm like, I feel like in a true lesbian relationship, there's probably more toys. Like scissoring just doesn't feel geometrically like the best thing that you could do
Yeah.
with two women. I feel like there's better things
Yeah.
that go on.
So mom,
If you feel comfortable
mom,
answering
if you're
that.
listening,
Yeah.
just skip forward maybe like 10 minutes.
And believe me, this is a question that a lot of
No,
straight guys
yeah.
have because they're like,
Not even just straight guys, Zach. Other women,
yeah,
seriously, are like, does that work?
Because lesbian porn, I would gather that 70 or 8% of it is just two straight women going at it, and they're like, we're getting paid to do lesbian porn, and the
Yes.
scissoring is like the go-to.
Okay, so scissoring does exist. It exists and it can be successful. I know this because been there, done that.
Okay.
However, it's not easy and
doesn't
it
seem
doesn't
like it.
always work. Like it's almost like it's almost like a trial run where it's like, do we fit like a puzzle or no?
I was gonna say like
because
it's got to be matching puzzle pieces.
Yes. Sometimes it physically probably wouldn't work because just the way you guys are both shaped, you sometimes have to get into strange positions. You might need a pillow under the butt. You got to like prop up. But yeah, so it works. See, you can find enjoyment in it. It's for me, I feel too old for it now. I'm literally like my hips, my back, my pussy, my crack. I'm sore. I can't do it all anymore. Please. Please
In the grandma
give me a
voice,
break.
please, I can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah, so it exists. It's a real thing. I don't think that it is as popular as it is in porn videos because, it's super popular in porn. And it usually is just like two femme women like going off on each other.
Yeah.
Which is great, but I don't know. I don't know how.
And they're just like, and I'm looking at them like, that doesn't look like it's matching up, right? I feel like there's a lot of, and I mean, it is porn, so obviously there's a lot of acting going on. But I've always had suspicions, like, I don't think scissoring is as popular as lesbian porn makes it seem.
Here's a tip for my scissor sisters out there. If you are scissoring, focus on your needs, not your partner's, because you can't like.
So it's like going down if you're a guy.
Yeah, well,
you're like, I might not be experiencing all the pleasure right now, but I'm gonna set it up so. Well,
it's the reverse. It's the reverse because if you're scissoring, I think, especially if whoever's on top, whoever's the top scissor is the controller of the scissor.
Okay.
So that's first and foremost. And I think the only way it's successful, or at least it's for me, is that I have to focus on myself, my own satisfaction. Because you can't, I mean, it's, we don't got the parts. It's not a perfect match like, penis, vagina. Like, it's almost like two negatives, like trying to make things work. I can't feel what's going on with her that much. You know what I'm saying? But if you focus on you and your own satisfaction, that will inevitably turn your partner on.
Yeah.
Usually. And then that just probably creates more lubricant, which creates a better time, which will hopefully lead to success.
I mean, I feel like that is a good way to tie up the sexual part of the discussion is that wherever, and I'm enjoying this. This is, I'm downloading.
Always happy to educate.
I'm downloading, it's a long life. Maybe I find myself in a lesbian relationship.
You're like,
who
let
knows
me
where?
scissor.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, what?
Let me try it out. We'll see what happens. But like, you want to bring pleasure to your partner, but you also want to be selfish at the same time and be like, I need my needs met as well.
You need to know when to be selfish, when to be selfless.
100%.
And you never want to be too much of one or the other.
Yeah. And speaking of scissoring, I do have a story about Trump selling Bibles.
So is there scissoring in the Bible now?
So there are things coming together in this story.
All right. I almost got excited. On my way here, Zach, I had two girls ask me if I wanted to go to church on Sunday. I'm assuming because
is that slang in the lesbian community for scissoring?
If so, I fucking
Sunday.
missed it. I should leave right now and
Did they go?
Them.
Do you want to go to church on Sunday?
How funny would that be?
Do you want to sing some gospel?
Unfortunately, I think it's because Easter is coming up, and by the time this is out, we'll have just passed. So I think they just wanted me to go praise the Lord.
Yeah.
And maybe pick up a Trump Bible and go praise the Lord and then go scissor after.
Yeah. Do you want to die and then come again like Jesus?
Hell
come
yeah.
back from the dead? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, but then we'll get into some Trump, maybe some scissoring action.
We'll be right back.
We'll get into it. That might be my favorite I don't know if you call it like a nickname, but when you said the Scissor Sisters, like shout out to my Scissor Sisters out there, that made my soul smile.
Yeah, those my girls, my people.
The sisters, the SCISTERS.
Yeah, that's us. Those are my homies, my squad. When the apocalypse comes,
Yeah.
Scissor Sisters
Yeah.
unite.
Well, speaking of someone who you probably don't consider a sister, and maybe he has scissored at some point in his life. Who
Yeah.
knows? But Trump is now selling Bibles for $59.99 as he faces mounting legal bills. He has named these Bibles "God Bless the USA Bibles," and I don't think scissoring is in the Bible.
You might allude to it.
Yeah, it might allude to it at some point. But former President Donald Trump is now selling Bibles as he runs to return to the White House. Trump, who became the presumptive Republican nominee earlier this month, released a video on Truth Social urging his supporters to buy the, quote, "God Bless the USA Bible," which is inspired by country singer Lee Greenwood's patriotic ballad, "God Bless the USA." Trump takes the stage to the song at each of his rallies and has appeared with Greenwood at events. Happy Holy Week, Happy Holy Week, let's make America pray again, Trump says, as we lead into Good Friday and Easter. I encourage you to pick up your copy of God Bless the USA Bible today. Trump is directing supporters to his website where he is selling the book for $59.99.
That's an expensive Bible, is my
Yeah.
first thought, because I looked it up as soon as you said $59.99. I said, ain't no fucking way. You go to any hotel and open your bedroom drawer or your nightstand next to the bed, and there's a fucking Bible. And I know they're not paying $60 for that
No.
shit. So on Amazon, a basic Bible is $7.49.
$7.49.
Yes.
Well, he's saying, it's got the Trump branding. It's got the "Make America Pray Again" on the Bible. So therefore that makes it worth the extra $52, apparently.
Yeah. And so do we think, so we've also heard in the news that he's gotten hit with massive lawsuits and ordered to
Yeah.
pay like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to raise millions of dollars, $59.99 at a time.
100% he is. I think as a former business student in college, I love this move from a business standpoint because he's not even writing a new book. He's
It's the easiest thing to do.
He's literally rebranding an existing book, which is the most popular
Yeah.
book to ever be printed. Everyone already has this book who wants this book.
Facts.
And he's like, I'm going to sell this book that's already everywhere for $60 and people are going to buy it. And he's right, apparently, because people are buying it up. It's sold out on,
Wow.
It was sold out on his site for a short period of time.
Okay.
Now I believe it's restocked. But from a business standpoint, if you could rebrand something that's already being sold and you're not doing any work, that's a pretty genius move.
No, I agree there.
And he's basically, I think he's just doing this thing what all presidential candidates eventually have to do is they have to win the nomination and then they have to shift to, okay, where's my Christian fan base at? Because that's just the reality of America is that you
Yeah.
have to get religious if you're going to win the election.
Yeah. And I love that he says all Americans need a Bible in their home and just fully excludes, all Americans that aren't Christian.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there's a lot of Americans that don't have a Bible in their home.
And it's getting
And don't
more,
want one.
and it's getting more and more. The amount of people who are becoming non-religious are
Yeah.
increasing every day.
Yeah, but
It's-
we all know Jewish people, for
Yeah.
one. So I'm just like, Jewish people are not having a Bible in their home.
Yeah, it would be funny if he sold this Bible and on the inside, like the Bible is the most, it's supposed to be like this beacon of generosity and
Mm-hmm. Have
gratefulness.
you ever read the Bible?
I had to because I went to Catholic high school, so
See,
I had to
I had
study the fucking Bible. I had to memorize the fucking stories
Wow.
in the Bible.
That's interesting. Demi, my partner, also went to a private Catholic school.
Yeah.
growing up, she bopped around a few schools, and I think she went to her first year in college at there's one like the most Christian or Catholic college for girls.
Okay.
Before
Where was it?
I think in like Virginia or something.
Okay.
It's not Notre Dame, right?
No,
Or
no. Notre Dame is that is not Virginia.
Catholic all girls university. It's literally called like the Catholic school or something.
It might be. Is it Catholic University?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So
Okay.
she's more familiar with stuff. It fascinates me because my partner's not religious at all. Her mom just made her go, which, you know, we're not going to
Yeah.
beef on her mom. But also it's just like, it's funny that she's not religious at all, but she knows stuff. I didn't realize how I grew up so non-religious. I mean, we celebrated Christmas, Easter, like the basics, but religion was not in my life at all. And I
Yeah.
didn't realize that until just watching shows with my partner. Sometimes you watch a show and there are these religious references or songs or whatever, and she'll know every word to the song. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this fucking song?
I used to know the songs.
And she's like, we sing the same like 10 songs over and over and over and over
Yeah.
and over again in
Yeah.
church. And that is fascinating to me. I missed all of it.
Yeah.
So I had a Bible growing up. I had a children's edition. So it was kind of like you would read it, but there were also comics in it. I
Yeah.
tried so hard to read it, and I just kept reading like the same 20 pages and was like, this ain't it, fam.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you would not like the Bible pretty quickly because one of the stories of Cain and Abel is Cain, I believe, is the one who kills his brother Abel, but somehow is able to find redemption in God's eyes, like after literally killing his brother.
okay.
And then there's the town of Sodom and Gomorrah where people are doing homosexual activity, and God's like, all these people need to turn to salt pillars immediately. And
It's so annoying. It's so annoying because I really don't care about religion and like religious people. I think
Yeah.
that's so great if you find something that makes you feel more at peace in the world and be a better person. I think that's so awesome. So no hate on religion at all. It's just the dumb shit that's like written in there. It's like, okay, that was written like what, 3,000 years ago?
Yeah.
Like let's edit it.
I mean, I think if people find purpose in religion, because I think honestly
Yeah,
that's what
totally.
a lot of it is today, is more about the community
Yeah,
than the
whatever
actual
works.
teachings if you go back and read the Bible.
Yeah.
But when people, whatever religion it is, when you start to just like see red when someone
Yeah.
points something out about the religion, or you know, says, you know, maybe these people should be treated better, and according to your book, you know, they're not really treated in
Yeah.
the best way. And then like that person is just like, well, you know, Jesus said this, or this was in
You're
the
an
Bible.
abomination.
So you're
And those
going to hell.
people definitely still exist. And
Oh, for
they'll
sure.
talk to you kindly to your face, but then they'll be like, but you're going to hell.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the best interpretation of the Bible is that it's a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
A lot of it is moral applications in terms of just like being a good person.
It
And
shouldn't
then a
be
ton of
taken
it-
so literally.
Yeah, exactly. And then a ton of it is just like, yeah, I don't think that this is meant to be taken literally, even though some people do that are more fundamentalists. Let's just chill out and read it like it's a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm seeing here though that the Bible this is probably why it's so expensive, Trump's Bible, is
Yeah.
because it includes the US Constitution in it. The
Yes, that
Bill
is
of
it.
Rights,
Yeah, yes.
the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
It has all your favorite hits.
So yeah,
are in here.
that was another part of the story, is that like all of this shit comes with
Okay.
the Bible.
Yeah.
That he also had no part in writing. So he's basically just like amalgamating all of these religious, biblical / government writings.
Completely. He's like, you know what would be cool? Not separating church and state.
Yeah.
What if we combine them?
Yeah. Yeah. He's really sending a message here. But I think this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, if you are going to release a Bible and millions of people are going to buy it, which they probably are. I don't know
Oh
how many
yeah, I'm
copies have
sure.
sold to this point. But I think it would be hilarious if you have the Bible, which is supposed to be this beacon of generosity. It's supposed to be like, we're one love, grateful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then in the front cover of the Bible, Trump just wrote, "Suck my dick, Biden," as he's sending it out to everyone. And he's just like, look, we love everyone, but like, you know who you're voting for on the Tuesday in November. Just remember.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy election year. And by crazy, I mean not even that. It's like somehow crazy and not crazy that we have Biden versus Trump coming
Yeah.
up. It's just like, I feel sad in a way that America's just like, we're checked out. Or
Yeah.
like, really? Like, this is all we got?
It might be the most uninspiring election
Yes,
ever.
that's how I feel about it. I'm like,
Which
really?
guy that's going to be dead by the end of the term are you going to vote for?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, I don't even give a fuck who wins because
Yeah.
it's just not a good look either way.
Yeah. Do you know the comic Ralph Barbosa?
I do not.
So he tells a joke, and I'm not going to try to retell the exact joke because I'll butcher it, but the premise is that voting for Biden and Trump is like trying to decide who you want to drive you home from a party. And it's like either the
Yeah.
guy who's like the belligerent racist that's drunk as shit, or the guy that's like high as fuck and can't remember where he is. And you're just like, which guy do I want to drive me home? And you have to pick one. And it's like, I just want, a better option.
Right.
We like, this can't be the
Yeah.
only two options to
It's good that you're
get me
bringing
home
this
safe.
up because I saw a story and then I forgot about it.
Tell
Now
me.
I'm reminded.
Yeah.
A Texas man has legally changed his name to literally anybody else. So when the election comes,
Wait, the name is literally anybody else?
Yes.
Okay.
first, middle, last, and whatever else. Literally anybody else. That is his name. Literally anybody else. Because when you go to do your election and you vote Biden or Trump, you can also write in a candidate. And
Literally anybody
yeah, it's a kind of a joke of being like literally anybody else. So
Yeah.
now he's changed his name to literally anybody else.
Love that.
And has a chance at winning the election from just people writing in
Yeah.
literally anybody else.
I love that. Well, I mean, look at him just getting ahead of the curve.
No, I thought it was very savvy. So yeah, good for him.
I mean, the joke is funny until he actually wins, and you're
President,
like, "This is the end
anybody
of
else.
democracy."
President, literally anybody else. That's the funny part because yeah, if he got elected, he would be president, literally anybody else.
Getting sworn in as president, literally anybody else.
Yes.
Having to make the State of the Union address, having to like do all this presidential activity. I mean, it would
Yes.
be that would be the signal to me that like we definitely shouldn't have kids. The world is going to be over if we got a president that was elected
Yeah.
because people wrote in literally anybody else, and some
Yeah.
guy was like, "I'm gonna,
Yeah.
foresee this."
He's kind of in the same mindset though, of just saying like both these candidates kind of suck and
Yeah.
we just need somebody better.
Yeah.
So he it wasn't completely random. He's like, we need to just have anybody better. It could honestly be great. Maybe it's like the wild card,
Yeah.
It's just like, who knows what this man can do?
Yeah.
Like maybe he'll be great. So he's from Texas, and it says here he needs 113,000 signatures from non-primary voters in Texas by May to get his name on the ballot.
Okay.
So it probably might not be on the ballot, but you never know. There's hope.
Does he have anything that he's running on? Did he give any political hints or anything like
I
that?
see here he's 35 years old, so he's
Okay.
young. So that's one thing.
He's gonna be alive
He's,
at the end of the
yeah,
term.
he's
Okay.
young and
Barring-
alive
yeah.
and probably has a little bit of a different mindset than
Okay.
these 80-year-olds. His name formerly was Dustin Eby or Aby. He's a U.S. Army veteran and 7th grade math teacher who lives in the suburbs of Dallas.
Got it.
So yeah, I don't know much about him or other than that, but literally anybody
He's
else.
got a
I mean,
chance.
he has a chance. He
I
has a
mean,
shot.
he has a chance because 50% of the vote might come from people that don't even know that they're voting for him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think people will actually write that in, and that's
Yeah.
what he did. He was like, people are just going to write this in, and the vote's going to count for me.
Yeah.
So pretty nifty.
That'll be funny when people are counting the votes and they're like, this one just says anybody else. It doesn't say literally, but like,
That's
does it
his
still count?
middle and last
Yeah,
name.
exactly. So they'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Trump. Trump is always like the funniest businessman to
Yeah.
me. So I'm not surprised with the Bible. I'm not surprised with the sneakers. Before the sneakers, he was dabbling in NFTs for a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what's next.
I think it's funny that he's doing this. So basically, if people don't know, Trump is under a shit ton of financial stress at the
Yes.
moment. And according to AP News, this whole Bible effort is because Trump is in a serious money crunch, mounting legal bills while he fights 4 criminal indictments with a series of other civil charges. Trump was given a reprieve Monday when a New York appeals court agreed to hold off collecting more than $454 million he owes following a civil fraud judgment if he puts up $175 million in 10 days. And that's basically when he put the Bibles on sale.
Yeah.
So I actually calculated this. If he wants to sell $175 million in 10 days, which from the day that the ruling came down that he needs the 175 mil, that would be April 6th. He has to sell 2,916,667 Bibles by Saturday, April 6th, if he wants to raise 175 mil at $60 a pop. So I don't know what it is now, but I think he does have a chance if it's already being sold out in the early stages.
The people in that printing press are working overtime.
Oh
They're
my God.
sweating. They're there all night.
Yeah, it's an entire factory at this point.
Yeah.
He also, Trump, this is the last thing, he posted a $92 million bond in connection with the defamation cases brought in by the writer Jean Carroll, who accused Trump of sexual assault. And that is why he's also putting up a lot of this money for the Bible, is to fight sort of like distract or fight the sexual assault case. Mm-hmm. And I think it's hilarious that in order to distract from the sexual assault charges, Trump is selling a Bible because everyone knows the church has never been involved in any sort of sexual scandal or things like that.
I've never heard of that.
So yeah, that's the route that he's choosing to go. Maybe Trump will go from town to town performing miracles to, try to get his Bible numbers up. Just be like, he wants to see me walk on water.
Yeah.
I'll turn that water into wine. I'll bring your dead aunt back to life.
Yeah. He's like in the hospital when they come around and like bless you in the hospital.
Yeah. Trump's just kissing babies
Yeah.
all over. The parents are like, please get away from my baby. He's like, no. Mwah. I need that Bible money.
Yeah.
Trump and Pope Francis are getting together to make a rap song. Who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe they'll make a song called "Jesus Dies for Our Wins" for the election.
Diddy will produce it.
Diddy will produce it. Directed by Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Who did Passion of the Christ.
Starring Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Wait, I keep getting his name like mixed up. I just
What
said
do you
Cuba.
think it is? What do you think it
I keep saying
is?
Cuba Gooding Jordan, but it's Junior.
Junior, yeah.
Okay.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
I'll forget soon again. So
I'll
I'll be
remind
like
you.
a old lady with dementia.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
You could just run for president.
That's true.
Change your name to old lady with dementia, because people might write that in.
The first female president.
Yeah.
Amazing, groundbreaking.
Yeah. Well, speaking of female leaders, you said you had an update
Yeah.
on Kate Middleton.
Well, we
that you
have
wanted
to. We
end
have
off. Yeah.
to, because we went in with some conspiracy theories, and then I sent you a text message as soon as the news dropped
Yeah.
that Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, has cancer, What
Yeah.
type of cancer I don't think was disclosed, and I guess is not really
something
any of our
abdominal,
business.
if it's an abdominal surgery.
Yes. So here's my thing, and I feel like I have like receipts. I'm ready. Because as soon as this came out, everybody was like, bad. Everybody feels so bad now. Everybody feels so bad for coming.
Yeah.
Let her be. She has cancer. Stupids. Let her be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly what the deep state wants you to think, that this hasn't all been a conspiracy, that there's nothing going on.
Listen, I am obviously, it's not great that she has cancer.
Yeah.
It's terrible news.
But you're tapped in. You know what's going on behind the scenes.
I'm just not interested. I'm not sorry for spitting my conspiracy theories.
No. And we shouldn't
I'm just a delusional girl with a microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
We're working with what we have.
Exactly. So that's the thing. They were like, I hope you feel bad now. I don't. What I do feel bad that she has cancer, because I wouldn't wish that on anybody, especially a mother of young children.
Yeah,
That's
I wish
terrible.
it on a few people. There's a few people that I come to mind that but you're a better person than me.
That's
we established that.
Yeah. So I actually don't feel bad. Like they're trying to blame this whole thing on people like me and you, right?
Yeah.
Who just are trying to do our thing with the media, podcasting.
Yeah, number one comedy podcast in the world. We're just spitballing on the Kate Middleton conspiracy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry for having these conspiracy theories, because I didn't just pull them out of my ass. Like the royal PR team is a bunch of interns. Like the worst PR team I've ever seen, obviously, must be Kate and William's PR team.
Yeah.
Because her having cancer, which is terrible, once again, I will reiterate that. It's terrible. It's not good. I'm sorry for that. But
allegedly.
well,
she has
I
cancer.
think she does. But the thing is like, that doesn't explain the photoshopped photos, the AI, the weird it doesn't explain any of the weird shit that happened leading up to this announcement.
So that's the same thing popped into my head, where I was like, okay, people are saying now on Twitter, you know, all of you pieces of shit who are, you know, eulogizing on the Kate Middleton conspiracies and giving you, I'm like, well, why was her face taken from a past photo and pasted onto her children on Instagram? You can't be like, oh, she had cancer. Like, a lot of people have cancer. They don't Photoshop their entire face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, we were sus and spitballing conspiracy theories because we were concerned about her whereabouts. And not only did the British media and royal PR team basically throw like oil in this fire and make it get even bigger, but
that's the British British intelligence. The British intelligence, this just in.
It's just that, first of all, they already had, King Charles, they already had the blueprint of what to do. Is it our business to know that they have cancer? Some would say, no, it's none of our business. Yes, the fuck it is. Their job is public facing. That is their whole job. It's not to govern, which a lot of people just misperceive, because they have the parliament to do that. Their job is literally to be a face. And to be people facing. So what goes on in their lives is our business. And their health as the royal family is the people's business.
You can't give and take. You can't say
exactly
care about us. We're the royal family. And then when there's an issue where people have questions like, oh, stop looking into our lives. I'm like, bitch, you're the fucking royal family. You can't have it both ways.
That's your job.
Yeah.
And also, you just had a blueprint of how to do it. King Charles just got diagnosed with cancer, and we didn't all go crazy.
His ugly hands were all over the media. He was like, obviously I have cancer. Look at my hands.
It was literally that simple. It was, I have cancer. I'm doing okay. We're
Yeah.
gonna like, my health team is great and we're gonna move forward. And we
Prince-
all went, oh my God, that's so sad.
Prince Andrew was dodging Epstein allegations
Right.
and made more public appearances than Kate Middleton. Literally, he's trying to dodge a pedophile ring, and there were more pictures taken of Prince Andrew outside his home that he was staying in, and people were still like, yeah, he's here. No one knew what was up with Kate Middleton, so it's like,
Exactly.
why not just say...
You don't get to collect the taxpayer dollars for being public facing and getting all that and then be like, oh, but I don't want you to know any of my business. But also another thing that's like crazy now is that she put out that image allegedly that was like doctored.
Doesn't explain the Photoshop.
And then says, oh, my bad. That's my beat. I don't think that was really her bad. So now I think that her PR team literally, they blamed the woman with cancer
Yeah.
for doctoring the
Because you
photo.
could say whatever you want if you're in charge of her Twitter.
Even if it was her,
Exactly.
like it could have been like, oh, that was like an intern mistake or something. So instead, they literally blamed the woman with cancer.
Yeah. if things are going as usual with the royal family, there's no shady shit going on. I think you have Kate Middleton. She gets diagnosed with cancer. She makes an appearance maybe, a week or two later and says, hey, I have health issues going on.
Maybe longer. I think
maybe
it's
longer,
fine
but the
amount of
Photoshop,
time.
but like the Photoshop is weird as fuck. Like, why was that
That's
a thing?
the bizarre. Exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I get when you're young. I mean,
why
she's
even
young,
share a
so
photo if you're not going to make a public appearance? Why not just put out
put out
nothing?
a statement and
Yeah.
just be like, Happy Mother's Day
Yeah.
to all the moms out there.
Or put out something from the year before and be like,
just be
hey,
like, hey.
Kate's taking some time
Yes.
away right now.
It's really not that complicated. So that's why I'm not sorry. Like, I'm sorry she has cancer. And I really do understand when you're that young. I mean, if I found out I had cancer today, I'd be devastated. I'd be shocked. And I would probably need more than a couple weeks to come around to the idea of it. And
I'd have to share a photoshopped image of you to the Breaking Takes Instagram almost immediately.
Exactly.
Just like an obvious copy and paste of your head on like a completely separate photo of your body. Be like, Sam's fine, everything's good.
Yeah, doing
Next
great.
episode.
And then I just apologize, like, oh, sorry.
See,
I
if you
play
put out a video a few weeks later and we're like, Sam has cancer, people would still be like, the
What
photo
the fuck?
though. Like, what about that?
What was that about?
Yeah, the photo game.
Yeah. So I'm not sorry about our conspiracy theories.
No.
I don't think anybody should
It's
really
fair
be sorry
game.
about it.
Yeah.
I do definitely wish her well and hope for a full recovery. I can't imagine. I definitely know what it's like to be in the hospital, and I know she probably has the best team, one of the best teams out there, but it's not going to be fun. I know that.
I think it was either last episode or a couple episodes ago where you brought up the theory of William messing around on the side
I still think
with
that's
that other girl,
happening.
Rose something. Do you think that is part of the reason why there was so much fodder and craziness around the announcement of her having cancer, that there was like some shit going on?
Yeah, for sure, because I do think there's weird shit going on there too. And that's another thing you bring up, Zach, is that in that video of her announcing that she got cancer and, thanking people for their patience that they definitely didn't have, she's like, thank you so much for your support and patience, as we all are like going crazy on the internet.
Yeah. She reads the
Oh my
royal
God.
family
Yeah,
Reddit page.
Yeah,
for
so I
sure.
thought that was funny. But she's sitting on a bench alone, looking good, but also she's always been a thin woman,
Yeah.
and she looked a little bit frail, which is reasonable and understandable. As she said, she was beginning her chemo treatment. So, but she literally said in that statement, I'm so happy and blessed to have William by my side, as William
one
is
is there.
literally nowhere to be fucking found.
And also, it's even weirder that she does have cancer, because it still doesn't take away from the fact that William visited her once in the hospital, because the reporters were waiting.
Yeah. So I don't know.
She was apparently, I guess, in the hospital during that time, and the reporters are waiting there 24/7 trying to figure out, like, is she gonna come out? Is William going in? It's like,
Yeah.
imagine like everything is good with your wife and she has cancer and you see her once in like a month and a half in the
I
hospital.
guess I always leave room for like, okay, but he could have snuck in, using a different car, like him not driving, him being in the back. Like, I think that
In the trunk.
Yeah, him being in the trunk, tied up,
going to
ball
visit
gagged,
your wife.
blindfolded.
But also, why would you hide that though? If you're going to visit your wife,
Just
that's
to
good
like
PR.
avoid the chaos of, I think, I would understand wanting to just
True.
avoid the chaos of the
True.
paparazzi. But so I guess like we can't verify that, but it's still a bit strange that she's going through a hard time. You would kind of think that you would want to show unity and strength, and would probably want, you don't need your kids there because they're kids, but like, I just think you would probably want your husband with you to hold your hand or something. I mean, I'm not trying.
Yeah.
I'm really not even trying to be a conspiracy
Yeah,
theorist
you're
there.
trying
I
to
just
put out
think
like a family forward response.
It just was funny that she's like, I'm so thankful to have William by my side, as we look to the left and right and there's no one by her side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish her well, and I do hope that their marriage is okay.
If I was the royal family manager of the social media, I would have put out like an obvious deep fake of Kate Middleton talking,
Yeah, like-
but like the words don't match her mouth,
They should've
and she's
just
like,
kept
"I'm
it going."
totally okay," like sort of like those dubbed
Yeah.
foreign movies, and you're like, "That's not Kate
Yeah,
Middleton."
if they were funny and cool, they would from this point forward do Photoshop
Just
like funny
like
things.
a total hostage video of Kate Middleton.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a final thought. And another final thought that I have is just a shout out to Baltimore, because there was a
Yes.
catastrophe that occurred in Baltimore this week. It was super crazy. I couldn't sleep that night for some weird reason. Both Demi and I could not sleep.
I mean,
and
your
then
city was
I woke
hurting.
up to text messages, and it's just completely devastating. But also just a shout out to the bridge team and the police force there, because they managed to stop traffic. And, unfortunately, but fortunately, the only people that lost their lives were the construction crew that happened to be working on the bridge. So it could have been so much worse. Also, just in case you live under a rock, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was
Crazy.
telling some other people that aren't that familiar with Baltimore. They were like, "Oh, is it really like that big of a thing?" And I'm like, "No, like people thought an earthquake happened."
Yeah, it's
Like,
a big ass fucking bridge.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
devastating. Like, we're thankful that not many lives were lost, but it's devastating because the port of Baltimore is blocked currently.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore is like top 15 imports and exports in the state.
Yeah.
So this is a national impact here, which a lot of people are just like, oh, Baltimore, schmaltimore. But it's like, no, it's going to impact the nation.
It was a boat, right, that hit one of the pillars.
So the boat lost power as it was like passing under the bridge. It lost power twice. So it lost power. They start freaking out. They regain power. We're able to call like Mayday, Mayday. Like there's an issue. We're losing power. So that meant that the police and bridge team were able to stop traffic.
Yeah.
Then the boat lost power again. And it looked as though when you lose power, I'm pretty sure it's protocol, like you need to drop anchor.
Yeah.
So they dropped anchor. And because of that, the back end of the boat, which is massive, this boat, it was stacked with cargo.
Yeah.
And the back end of the boat swung and hit one of the main
pillars,
the main pillars of the bridge, and it just totally crumbled like cards. The video is insane. It felt like the fucking Titanic, the way like the lights went out on everything. And I feel terrible for the people that lost their lives, but I just wanted to shout out to my hometown. The Orioles won yesterday. It was opening day.
Fuck yeah.
We have a new owner. We're definitely we're going places this year. And yeah, just shout out, love my hometown, and hopefully that we can get it fixed as soon as possible.
100%. Yeah. Shout out to Baltimore. I hope the families of those construction workers get compensated
Definitely,
very
yeah.
well, because they were on that bridge knowing that shit could go down and they were still working
crazy
anyway.
job anyways, to be working in the dead of night on a fast moving bridge
and
with cars
and I
flying
know
by.
just because of like the history with the 9/11 first responders in New York City, that it can be an absolute battle to get the money that you're owed as a
Yes,
family.
yeah.
And it can take decades. So I hope that those construction workers don't have to,
Yeah.
the families of those construction workers don't have to go through like that same shitty battle that a lot of the first
Definitely.
responders did in New
Agreed.
York City.
Yeah.
So I hope that works out. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been
a hell of an episode.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
been a strange ride, everybody.
we covered Diddy, we covered scissoring, we covered Trump
I'm
Bibles.
getting whiplash.
I was gonna say I'm getting wet. I'm getting, I'm
Okay,
getting
cool.
a little bit, just,
Sounds like fun.
Just talking about all this scissoring activity. I am grateful for you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And if you'd like bonus episodes, we put out an extra episode every month on breakingtakes.supercast.com. And you can also subscribe at Breaking Takes Premium to suggest topics and questions for future episodes. And of course, rate us and leave a comment on Apple, Spotify, and podcasts.
5 stars.
5 stars. The best way to honestly spread the podcast word about Breaking Takes, because the more ratings we have, the higher that these episodes pop up in searches.
Out, up,
If
around.
someone out, up, around, inside, outside, when someone searches
Whatever you're
Diddy
into.
or Kate Middleton or Donald Trump Bibles, the more ratings we have, the higher these episodes will pop up. And yeah, thank you guys for listening and for the support.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Peace.